Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from astrolada.com, and this is 2025 astrology forecast. This will not be focused on the 12 signs individually. I already made videos for each of the 12 signs. You can watch them for free on my platform ladaDuncheva, or you can watch them, or you can watch the extended version, 2.5 hours for each sign on my website, which is only $20 or something like that per sign. This is about what the year will bring us collectively. And I am so excited for 2025 because since childhood, I knew something really important will happen in 2025. I'll first give you the perspective of prophets that I've read from, of prophets and saints that I have followed since childhood, that I've grown, and scientists as well. And then I'll give you the astrological perspective. And since very little, my grandma used to tell me that 2025 is a pivotal year. My grandma used to have the prophetic spirit, as they call it, and she was very religious. She had the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. But she used to tell me about this year. And also the prophetess, her name is Slava Sevryukova, a Bulgarian one who was correct on everything she ever said. She said, the big change in humanity starts from 2025. She said this 60 years ago while she was alive. She used to say from the year 2025 till the year 2030 is when the biggest changes in humanity's consciousness will begin, but also earth changes of how the planet looks. She says there will be some big events starting from 2025 that are divinely, and they would last for around 6 to 7 years. That might change the face of the earth. We're talking something, that is not even under the influence of humans. This is directly connected to nature. And she says, but it will be a short period, but this will be when humanity shifts into spiritual direction after that. But it begins 2025. Plus Graham Hancock, I don't know if you know him, he's a scientist, archaeologist, and he calculated that the Iron Age or Kali Yuga finishes in 2025. Each age of consciousness carries on for 3,000 years. 1 year is 26,000. One big year, which is called Platonic year, is 26,000 years, so 25, which is the precession of the equinoxes passing through all the 12 signs. And it's split into 3,000 years, 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, and each age is 3,000 years, 2,700 years of the exact age, whether it's iron, whether it's silver, bronze, or gold age. And this does not show the development of technology, it shows the level of consciousness of humans. And then there's 300 years transitional period. And he calculated, according to ancient archaeological and historical knowledge, when the ages started and ended. Every time an age ends, so we start from golden age, which was 12,000 years ago or something, then we went to bronze, then we went to silver, bronze, and around 6,000 years ago started Kali Yuga, the Iron Age. And there were two Iron Ages next to each other because it's a circle. There's always on top two golden ages, ascending golden age, descending golden age for 6,000 years, which is around the time of Atlantis for us. Then there is descending 12,000 years of consciousness. From the golden goes to silver, to bronze, and to iron. And it means that we are not in contact with the higher worlds. We are not in a universal consciousness. We lose telepathy. We lose the ability to see the higher evolved hierarchies, angelic and whatever. So we become very materialistic at the Iron Age. We stop believing in God. Everything is material. Everything is science. And the descending age started with Krishna, I think, 6,000 years ago, the descending Kali Yuga. And it ended around 500 years BC. And it started the ascending Iron Age of 2,700 years. And he calculated every time this kind of age ends, one of the ages, there is about 300 years period of adjustment, of changing from one age to the other, where cultures die, where the whole thing that was created in the previous 2,700 years, empires, development of civilization, it kind of collapses to give way to the new, and it takes 300 years. So he saw archaeologically, historically, it truly every 2,700 years, for 300 years, there is big collapse of civilization, changes of who is a ruler, and change of consciousness, and then a new culture, totally different from the next one, emerges. And he calculated that the next one is, I'll put a table there, maybe in the corner, you can see all the ages, you can check historically that all those 300 years between each age corresponds to big shifts, whether it's nomads invade, whether it's cataclysms of nature, whether it's something happens that civilizations collapse. So the descending Kali, ascending, the one, so we're now starting to climb up on the consciousness of evolution. Since actually 2,000 years almost, we've been climbing up. And this ascending Kali Yuga is finishing in 2025, according to Graham Hancock's calculations. He uses also ancient Vedic sources for that. It's not just science. And we're starting at 3,000 years of the Bronze Age of consciousness. I think over the next 3,000 years, telepathy will become the norm. Then we go to the Silver Age, where it's way more. Maybe we will be able to dematerialize, or whatever. And the Golden Age is you enter whenever you want the physical, you leave, there is no death. But it's gradual. Don't think overnight we'll wake up and we'll be in this, light bodies. But finally, we're entering the Bronze Age. Well, actually, we're entering the first 300 years where everything will fall apart and then we'll build up the Bronze Age onwards of consciousness. So yeah, quite a few sources speak about 2025 as a very pivotal year. And I want to show you astrologically why it is so important. Maybe it's not going to be exactly like the others say, but this is my intuitive insights that I will give you. And collectively first, generally, there will be a lot of water element this year. The nodes are moving into Pisces, the North Node. Wherever the North Node goes, this is where pivotal fated events happen. Pisces is a water sign. Neptune is there. Saturn is there. Venus and Mercury will be retrograde in Pisces, and there will be eclipses in Pisces. And the Sun and Moon in the spring, March, April, there's so much water. Mars is retrograde in Cancer the first 4 months of the year. You see, not retrograde, but retrograde and direct. And then when Mars leaves Cancer, Jupiter enters Cancer, and Saturn and Neptune come back again into Pisces after the summer. They dip into Aries for a little bit. But I just see a lot of water this year. And fire, because Saturn and Neptune then move into Aries for 3-4 months, and they come back again into Pisces. And what is water? When you think of water, what do you feel? Water is about cleansing. Water is about washing away the dirt, the toxins, the poisons. Water can be very cataclysmic as well. And especially with all these planets coming here together in Pisces. And Pisces is the last water sign. Pisces is the sign of karma, because it's the last sign of all the 12 signs. This is where the consequences of all the previous actions are gathered. And Saturn is the planet of karma. Pisces is the sign of karma, of all the consequences. So we see those two elements getting together, and Rahu, the North Node, enhances this. And Neptune is there. So divine love is presiding over it, but Neptune brings even more of this ending of a cycle, ending of karma energy. So when so much Pisces is activated, especially the first 4 months of 2025, maybe again after that from September, this water energy comes very strongly. And this Piscean energy. So Pisces is about endings, karmic results of our previous actions collectively as humans, on an individual level as well. I believe the last This year, a lot of people will be wrapping and ending a phase of their life, a chapter of their life. And Pisces can do this in a very natural way where you release it, you have outgrown it, just like, a child doesn't want to play with their toys anymore because they've turned into teenager, or it can happen in a more painful way, which feels like a loss, which feels like the carpet has been pulled from under your feet if you're trying to hold on into the old. But a lot of this year is about endings, completions. And of course, Pisces has high vibrations, which is because it's a Jupiterian sign after all, rewards for work well done. So if you deserve rewards, this is when you will receive them. You'll see the results of your actions for the previous 30 years. And for humanity, because Saturn is ending this cycle of 30 years for humanity and starting a brand new cycle when it enters the first sign of the zodiac in the end of April or May, the end of May, something like that, where it will join Neptune at 0 degrees Aries, brand new beginnings on personal level and on universal level. But it's not happening just in 2025. This is a process of 2 years, 2025 and 2026, because then they dip back, Saturn and Neptune, into Pisces. We go back to the old reality from the autumn again for the northern hemisphere, and then fully they enter from January, February, from the beginning of 2026, where the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune happens at 0 degrees Aries. At the first day, the degree of the first day of spring, the beginning of the new year, basically. And that's huge. They have never met there in our recorded human history. So something totally new is coming. I mean, I can't even imagine it, what it is going to be. But first, it's this cleaning of the past karma. How can a past karma be cleaned? Something ends. Also, sometimes it happens to be in a bit more catastrophic ways. Slava Sevryukova said that from 2025 till 2032 almost, there will be water events, tsunamis and such. The earth will be shaking. I hope it's not that. But look at all this water when Neptune and Saturn, especially around March, April, and then around September, October, they're meeting here in Pisces. There is an eclipse at the degree where Saturn and Neptune are, within 1-2 degrees. Venus and Mercury are retrograde, also on the same degrees, the last degrees of Pisces. There's such alignment of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets. The sun comes and the moon comes. 7 planets in a water sign. And it's, whether you're looking at it, the constellations, it's also Pisces behind. All the signs, it's also Pisces. So there's no getting around it. So watch out for events with water. But what is water doing? It washes away sins. What do we do in religion? You get baptism by water first. You get dipped in the water to wash away your sins. That's why water is this healing energy that washes away the old, washes away the pain. And sometimes there's so much blood on this earth. Some of the earth needs to be washed away in some ways, to be purified. Water also symbolizes the astral, the feelings. Where we carry the biggest pain? It's of course always in the astral body of our feelings, the anger, pain, resentments. Water comes and washes it. So it can be extremely healing on a personal level. People will feel this year that feelings that they haven't suppressed for maybe even past lifetimes or early childhood, or they would come to the surface. They would escalate those first few months of the year, especially with Mars also being retrograde in Cancer. Cancer is also a sign of feelings, and especially programming from family and all feelings and how you perceive the world through family. So all those planets, especially the first 4 months of the year, working on the astral level, on our astral body, on our feelings. It's almost like a psychological process happening in us of detoxification of toxic feelings and hurts and traumas. But in the process, they can come to the surface. They need to be released. If there is resistance, it can be catastrophic for the body. So allow it. Feelings need to be experienced. And for some of you, it can be very spontaneous process. You feel very emotional, you realize something about the past. Water signs are about the past. Of course, the feelings that we've experienced in the past get locked in us. So the past will come up a lot. It will be relieved, it will be released, and water is healing. And they can be even spontaneous healings of sorts through this revision and releasing of locked up emotions and feelings in the body, collective astral body, and individual astral body, because all diseases start either from the mind or spirit, even if it's very twisted, that these are the ones that are hardest to fix, but the majority of them are from the astral body. Unresolved feelings, unfelt feelings, suppressed feelings, so feelings that are unbalanced, that are unprocessed, and they manifest as cancers, as chronic conditions, it can manifest as anything, And now this water is giving us chance to heal it, to wash it away. It's called wash away the sins. They're not sins, like per se. They're unprocessed pains and traumas, and that's exactly what can make persons sin and do wrong things and have addictions and hurt others, and the unbalanced emotions. That's what all those planets, they're retrograde direct. So many retrograde planets in water signs are trying to do. And the first 4 months, this process is more painful. After that, from June, Jupiter enters Cancer. And Saturn and Pluto will come back there from September into Pisces. So the second part of the year, or the last, from June onwards, the second part of the year, the healing process of washing away the traumas locked in the body collectively and personally becomes much easier. It's not anymore through Mars, through crisis, but it is through naturally you're shedding toxins, shedding emotions. And what does it feel at the end of this process? It feels intense when I'm talking to you now. All those unprocessed feelings, all this pain, emotional, intense realizations. It's like passing through a mini dark night of the soul almost, but it's called a healing crisis. So there can be a healing crisis we can expect individually and collectively. And what happens? You think you're getting worse, but actually it's a healing crisis. And after that, suddenly, boom, boom, you're into the light. Because the next sign after water is what? Fire. And fire rules the light and the spirit. Water is a very heavy element where we work through the heavy feelings. But the moment we've released them, and for many of you, it can be a spontaneous process. You don't have to go to psychologists. Or some of you will be just more inclined at periods in 2025 to be more self-introspective, to spend more time alone, because water needs time alone to process feelings. And this will be happening spontaneously. For some of you, it will be happening in your dreams. For some, working with a psychologist. For some, just spontaneously that you're releasing. But the healing crisis, individually, I cannot tell you what a healing crisis looks like. It's like a release of, it can feel eruptive. Collectively, healing crisis, because it wants to push us into the light of the fire signs, those planets after that. As I said, it might have to do something with nature, the forces of nature, because Pisces and Neptune, where all this is happening, first of all, they rule oceans and water, and oceans control the whole climate. Pisces and Neptune are connected to forces of nature. The king Neptune, the god Neptune, controlled all the forces of Neptune and all the forces of nature. So something there, that's what I'm feeling. I hope I'm wrong, but events of water as well. I'm not telling you half of the world will sing or anything like that, but still watch out, especially around the spring, then around the autumn as well, for big events. When this alignment here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 planets happens in water, personal healing crisis, something leaves your life. Something is washed away from your life. And you feel lighter after that, like a million years of burden and pain has been washed away. But as well, with collectively, as I said, this washing of the sins. And what happens even in religions, we first have baptism by water and then baptism by spirit. always, even in Jesus Christ, he was dunked into the river Jordan, and then the Holy Spirit descended on him, or the Christ consciousness. For 3 years walked, a God consciousness walked the earth, the creator consciousness. So what we're having after the water, Neptune moves into fire for 5-6 months. Saturn moves into fire, the first sign, towards the end of May, Saturn moves. Neptune moves from the beginning of April, Saturn moves from May. So for 3-4 months, they will be in fire. Mars has moved into fire already, but they dip only for a short time. But these are the birthing pains. And then the baby is born in Aries when they move. The birthing pains are in Pisces. Even in the natal horoscope, the 12th house shows when you are in the mother's belly. If there's difficult planets in your 12th house, which is Pisces is the 12th sign, Aries is the beginning, like Aries symbolizes the first house in your natal horoscope, which is the body being born. So if there is in the 12th house, so these are the gestational, the birthing pains of Mother Nature and of your own spirit trying to be born to a higher level of consciousness. So what happens? You get baptized by water, the healing of the washing away of the feelings, of the emotions, of the painful healing crisis possible, letting go of stuff. Collectively, as I said, is it natural something? Is it Pisces again? It can be losses like financially, who knows? I don't know. It can be that, or Pisces, what else can be? The simplest thing is this that I can think. And then Pluto and Neptune, Saturn and Neptune move into Aries. The Holy Spirit descends. What is Holy Spirit? Fire. Fire is spirit. This is the astral body being purified. The soul, first the soul and the feelings need to be purified for the spirit to enter and embody into the body more fully. So you do the cleaning of the feelings and then spirit embodies deeper. So big jump in consciousness already in 2025, possible for many people. After like healing crisis, letting go of something, suddenly you're at a much higher vibration of consciousness. Collectively might take more time, maybe a few years. Personally though, I'm speaking to personally individual people. This year and 2026 in particular, because 2026, Saturn and Neptune fully enter into Aries, for Neptune for 14 years, Saturn for 3 years. From July, Jupiter enters Aries and will trine Saturn and Neptune. So we're going to have so much fire. Then the spirit will be doing the revival en masse. But already we have those glimpses. But the whole 2025, they're still washing away of the old, of the sins or the unprocessed feelings that keep you in a lower vibration. And as I said, we need a healing crisis. And then it dips Saturn and Neptune for a few months into fire. So some of you already can have those revival, revelation, raising of consciousness. Collectively, Saturn, Neptune in Aries. Well, of course, there is fire. We can see more fire events, volcanic events. And there's something else that, in astrology and in Vedic and ancient astrology and in Western Hellenistic astrology, where water and fire mean. Always water, after water comes fire. And they call those points where the signs move from Pisces to Aries, from Cancer to Leo, from Scorpio to Sagittarius, Gandanta points of clash. Because the biggest clash between forces and elements is between water and fire. You see, transition from earth to air is not dramatic. You put earth and air together, what you get like dry land or something, or yeah. But you put water and fire together, it's either steam or it's like the weather is crazy. Heat and water together, this is what creates all the cyclones. This is what creates, and this is, imagine like Parvati, one the astrologer I work with, she pointed it out so beautifully, why these points are the most sensitive of the biggest change in consciousness. When planets move from water into fire, the biggest release of tension and rising into higher consciousness and into new beginnings. Because water first is the past. And when you enter into fire, fire is future element. So you move from past into future energies. You move from heavy energies into light energies. So there's this truly like awakening, like revival, like you're lighter, like you've been asleep till now. You've been in a haze, in a fog, in watery, dark underwater, and then you come into bright sunlight. And it can be shocking, but it feels like there is a ton of water off from your head. And there is the need for decompression when you emerge from the deep waters too quickly, It might be a shock to the system, physically, emotionally, psychologically, because the vibration suddenly rises so much from water vibration. And I'm not saying water signs are bad or evil or anything like that. No, they're so necessary. Without emotions, we're not going to be humans. But from this depth and heaviness of the emotions, you come into pure spirit and light. I'm not saying people will be flying suddenly into 5D dimensions or anything, but there will be such a shift, especially 2026 onwards, of this, wow, I can see there's light, I'm inspired, fire inspiration. But how Parvati showed it, this astrology, you can watch the video if you want on my channel, between passing from water to fire. The ancient astrologer always said something huge happens when planets move from water to fire. Because what is it? When you have water, say the ocean, and fire is a volcano. Volcano is spurting water, is spurting fire. When the fire meets and the volcanic particles meet the water cools it down, and what's created is new earth. And I really loved what Parvati said. So there will be the revelation of it's a very dramatic event, volcanoes, ocean flashing. But after things settle down, you have new earth, you discover new part of yourself, new beginning for yourself, you new collectively as well, totally new reality we're entering into. We're winning new earth, new levels of consciousness, I would call it. You discover new parts of yourself that you didn't know existed, new talents, new natural, and the fire signs, they're about the self houses, the things that you're naturally good and inspired towards. You discover such things more and more. But the majority of this year, again, I say, is water. So we're still in the healing, cleansing, or kind of more karmic process of releasing. That's why it's more karmic year, 2025. But we're dipping with one foot this year for a little bit to see the new energies. And they're going to start manifesting. And you'll say, well, what can 2-3 months of Saturn and Neptune in fire bring? Well, I can show you when Pluto dipped in 2022 or 2023, just for 2 months into Aries. Just for 2 months. March and April it was, or April and May. That's when AI came out and became public to everyone. Pluto is technology, Aquarius is technology, anything digital. So it transformed already. It just in 2 months it transformed the world, and it came back to Capricorn. So now everyone is using AI now. Pluto and Saturn will dip for Saturn for 3 months, Pluto for 5 months into fire. And they meet within 1 degree in July in Aries. So the big events are going to start happening already, those new beginnings. Pluto and Saturn and Neptune. Saturn and Neptune in Aries at the 0 degree, new ideologies, new heroes, new political system, nothing like we've seen before. And it's not going to take 2 months for it to develop. These will be the seeds, because the Saturn-Neptune conjunction starts a 36-year cycle. Over the next, at least the half of the cycle, over the next 15, 16 years, a totally new ideology will develop. For example, communism was created on a Saturn-Neptune conjunction. Karl Marx wrote it then, and Karl Marx was born on a Saturn-Neptune conjunction. And it was implemented on a Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Russia in 2017. And the communism fell down in Eastern Europe on a Saturn-Neptune conjunction. And a new political system came, the so-called Western capitalism. But I am not saying communism will come. Maybe there might be a push towards such system, now from certain forces, but we've seen this doesn't work because it always turns into tyranny, at least at the current present level of consciousness, but something else. Because Aries is a Kshatriya sign. What is a Kshatriya sign in ancient astrology? Leadership. Leadership, the rulers of the world, the system of ruling. So there will be the creation of a brand new system that will unfold some country, or I don't know, will unfold it over the next 15, 20 years. And it's a dispensation that there will be this, it will be like a dispensation from forces from above. Because Neptune, divine wisdom, will be for the next 4 or 5 years, will be sextiling Neptune and Saturn. Pluto from Aquarius till 2030 will also be sextiling Neptune, Saturn. Pluto is divine will and truth. Uranus is divine wisdom. Neptune is divine love. And Saturn is the manifestation in material of those three principles in a harmonious way, because they make him bisextile. This is a divine aspect, guys. It will hold till 2030. I'm just going to remove everything else, but leave just those three planets. They would form it already in 2020, those 4 planets. You see, it's like a roof of a house. And I used to work with a psychic. We would look at charts of people and she would tell me things about them. And every time we would see this configuration, bisextile in someone's horoscope, she says, I don't understand astrology. I don't know what this means. But every time you show me a chart of someone with this, it's like they have 5 angels behind them, like a horde of higher entities that are supporting them in some way. Like they have a lot more divine support. And when we translate this collectively for all of us, when this configuration will hold, not with Saturn for 5 years, but Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus will hold for the next till 2030, like God is putting this roof over us, but at the same time, it's like a divine awakening, the in fire and air signs, awakening of the mind, awakening of the spirit. Fire is the spirit, the inspiration, and protection and dispensation that will manifest of incredible new. I think on one level will be the new political system will be invented, because we need to still govern ourselves some way. We can't leave anarchy, but it might be some kind of a 3-way system where they don't mix into each other finances and science and education. And there is something that Rudolf Steiner said will be the future of humanity is the 3-way system. I think it will be dispensed now over the next 15, 16 years. Will be applied in a few countries where none of those are interconnected, where money can go and infiltrate and always economical interest rule over other things. So like culture, education will be one, and science one side, the other side will be finances, and the third side will be the ruling side, the executive or whatever, the governing side. These 3 have to be separate, so they don't intermingle, because they're always economical and other forces predominate then. Anyway, I'm just giving an idea where something will be born. Maybe not already 2025, 26, 27. It will take 10, 15 years for us to see new heroes, new politicians, new blood comes. Aries blood, new blood of inspiration. And a lot of those, yes, they might be shadow players in them. For always they always infiltrate. But God will activate, and I think a lot of those will be from a younger generation, Saturn Neptune generation conjunction that they had in the 80s generation, late 80s, 90s. They'll come on the scene over the next 7, 8 years, they'll with new ideals, and there'll be a lot of help to implement those new ideals. Pluto, Uranus, from society there will be help, because they're in air signs, which is society. From intellectual and scientific areas there will be help. Of course, even AI can be used to implement and help with that. But as I said, for now, I think we'll see first the more positive side of AI until Pluto starts getting hard aspects from Saturn in a few years. That's 4 or 5 years ahead. But then we'll start seeing the dark side. But first we'll see what can be do good with technologies. And actually I think we'll have 3-4 years where we can do a lot of good with humanity for technology, because technology is the air signs, and Pluto and Uranus, they're in air signs, they're in trine for the next 3-4 years, 4 years. They're 5 almost. So we'll see how technology can be used in a positive way. But you'll feel more this into 2026 already. And of course, everything is speeding up. Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus are moving from earth and water signs, which are feminine, more connected to preserving the shape, the status quo, the traditions, into air and fire signs, masculine. They want progress, so they want new things, and we'll dip into 2025 into those new things. Uranus moves into Gemini in July, Neptune in April, and they start forming this BI-SEXTILE. Even though I scared you with events of big reaping karma collectively because of the big Pisces energy, which I think will be possible, yes, that's it. But yes, there is huge protection at the same time over humanity, and especially people who uphold the principles of Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune of the high vibration, because they're in harmonious aspect. What is it? Divine wisdom, being wise, divine love, forgiving, kind, divine will or truth, being truthful, people that strive towards telling the truth, towards wisdom, learning, but and using it in a humane and kindly way. And even if you're not an important person every day in your life, these will be the people that will survive the crossing of this Kali Yuga, from the dark Iron Age into the Bronze Age of much higher consciousness, which, as I said, it's 300 years, the transitional period. And all psychics and all prophets, they see that within 100 years or something, humanity is way less in number. And who will survive this is people that keep those vibrations: divine wisdom, divine love, divine truth. They strive for truthfulness, they strive to help others, to be kind to others. Even if you don't communicate with anyone, you can be kind to your animals, to your plants, and you can be learning and being wise with your body, being wise with nature. For example, you can't do it for the whole world. You can't make everyone, not throw out their rubbish on the ground, but you can do it. You cannot step on an ant. You can talk nicely to your plants, to your neighbors. It's simple things like that. Even all prophecies that I've read, and I've read hundreds, from monks in Athon in Greece, from monks in very holy people. We in Eastern Europe, here in the Balkans, we're obsessed with prophecies, and they all happen. They're all from verified prophets, or and they all say the people that will stay on earth, that will create the new reality, they'll be, when you look at them, you think they're simple villagers, they're simple everyday. They won't be those grand, I'm not saying only that dumb people will remain, but he says they're simple in heart, they're kind in heart, they're people that are close to the earth, they're people that, like a normal village, a normal farmer, says somehow the vibrations, because their vibrations is set for the new times. Through those small acts of kindness, and by being connected to the earth and to the natural organic processes. And that's the wisdom as well, not to infiltrate your body with, there'll be a push for that as well with those technologies. You need to follow the natural evolution, because there's two paths. Is the path of Ahriman, where we become cyborgs, and of course that's the push now, but you stunt your natural evolution. You can see so many gray aliens and whatever, that they've taken this path. They're no longer, they've lost their humaneness, their feelings and everything, because they took the path of high technology. And I'm not saying technology is bad, but it's not all the answer to live forever, to download your brain on the cloud, or to put neural links unless you need it. I mean, sometimes, you know, for people who can't see or whatever, but just to do it, because to be connected to the system, to have the competitive advantage of being smarter than others, you are not going to be using your own God-given creativity. You're not going to be developing and tapping into the natural inspiration that flows in space. So those channels will fully, yeah, you'll be connected to the internet and whatever, and you'll get the answers from AI immediately, and you'll sound very intelligent. But whatever you don't use, you lose. You lose the imaginative process, the creative thought. You become a robot, only left brain activity, even that. I can easily use AI to write text or to create, to prepare videos. No, I don't want to, because I want to use this, the intuition, I want to use the inspiration, I want to use the creativity on your own, because that is the path of natural organic evolution. And as Rudolf Steiner says, and other occult esoteric teachers, you enter the higher worlds through exercises of the imagination. So if someone paints, if someone draws, if someone writes, if someone makes music, if someone sits and imagines things, sits and tries to imagine clearly the details in their head of something, and they are able to hone it, like Dr. Joe Dispenza. They said he's never going to walk, and he stood there for 2 months or something till he was able for 3 minutes to focus his mind on how his backbone is healing and without interruption. This is the ability to focus and concentrate your thought through the imagination. And Rudolf Steiner says that once you're able to do that, you break the veil of reality. So a lot of people, without realizing it, are training for that. And suddenly they start seeing in the other realities. They start seeing auras, they start seeing future, they start seeing feelings of others, thoughts of others, because they're, for example, because they're using their creative abilities, whether to write, to speak, to concentrate, to think. Even scientists were thinking, like Tesla, he would think concentratedly about something. He said he would see it in front of him. But it starts through the imagination. How interesting is that? There is the book Access to the Attainment of the Higher Worlds, and it's with very simple exercises. And what they're trying to do now, total distraction with the negative force, so using the negative energy of Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus in Gemini, and they'll hype them up as well. TikTok. I mean, I'm not saying, I learned a lot through TikTok, X, Facebook. You're scrolling and you're not allowing, or constant stimulation, overstimulation, distraction, instead of allowing you to sit with yourself, with your thoughts, to concentrate them, to work on something, a piece of art, a painting, writing something, doesn't matter, constructing something. This is the processes of opening to the higher levels. But instead of that, we're like, left, right. And the kids, they're so much overstimulated. I'm seeing it with my kids, and it's so hard to stop it. We have to stop the electricity sometimes of home. So take out all devices, and I'm not giving them good example either, because I do this a lot. But there is, sorry, I went on a tangent. I really want to come back again. So there'll be this overstimulation of the mind, but at the same time, there is such harmonious aspects to the higher, to the planet, symbolizing the ability to concentrate and to pierce through the veil. So this energy for the next 3, 4, 5 years can be used exactly for that, or it can be used on the external level to get distracted and overwhelmed all the time externally. And many people who have been doing this, who have been, for example, you might be someone that makes videos, you have to concentrate your thought, your imagination to prepare, or you're maybe someone who makes art and jewelry, and you go into the zone and you've been preparing this, your mind. So now when the 3 high principles of the divine truth, wisdom, and love align into fire and air sign, there will be so many people that break through in their consciousness. Through, suddenly, you might not be someone consciously striving to develop higher consciousness, whatever. It will just, you've been doing it maybe because of something else you've been doing in your life, as I said. And it's easier. And the thinning between the veil becomes easier because spirit, air, and fire, they're closer to spirit and to the higher vibrations. Those higher vibrations increase. But I think 2025 and part of 2026 is the baptism by water and healing crisis by water, and then into the fire. And then we have the air very strong for years ahead with Uranus and Pluto. Things will be moving fast, consciousness is raising, changing, but we're missing Earth, at least for the next 2-3 years. Pretty much, a little bit will have Uranus in Taurus still in 2025 for half the year, but after that it moves into Gemini. So we have a good dose of water in 2025, good dose of air and fire, no Earth. What is Earth? It's stability. One thing we can't rely on is stability. And people who are ready for change, wow, they would love 2025 and 2026. People who are not ready for change, want things to stay the same, they will have the difficulty. But even they might find it exhilarating. So there is no turning back. You see, there is no going back. Yes, science will advance and whatever, but I wanted to point to you how the level of consciousness will rise so much. I don't want to scare with doom gloom predictions. Well, I made the biggest one of the earth cataclysms that are possible. But otherwise, I've done another video. You can go and see the Pluto, Uranus, Neptune BI-SEXTILE. Last year I made it, and I made specific predictions about the economy, about science, about society, with Uranus in Gemini, with Pluto in Aquarius. It's a 1-hour video. I'll put a link below, or I'll put it somewhere here tied up if you want very specific predictions. Now I wanted to focus this more on the consciousness and what it is doing for us and the new reality that is bringing. So yes, we're gonna start seeing this powerfully. I said I think the most dangerous part is March, April, then July, when Uranus and Neptune join together, and when Saturn and Neptune join together and Uranus enters into Gemini. I'm not saying dangerous, but something big happens. And this was confirmed by vibrational revelations. Watch the video I did with Elena and Alejandro. They use quantum technology to measure everything you can measure, the future, the past, the objects, humans. And they said something, and I didn't tell them about astrology. And they said, March and July, it's big. It's like big. People feel scared, something big is happening, but for some it will be fear, for some it will be, some collective grieving or whatever with all the spices, but for others it will be also the birth of something new. We're going into that fire after that. The birth, that new earth that is coming, is being created. And even, in Western astrology, where water means fire, is where the battle for the soul is happening. Water is where all the monsters come from in mythology, where all the UFOs go to. UFOs are interdimensional, and a lot of them are lower astral beings connected to the earth element, to the water element, but the negative side of it, the high vibration of water, is something divine and beautiful. As you can see, a lot of UFOs deep there, whatever. But then water meets fire. It's where they would describe it in ancient medieval paintings, the battle between demons and devils and demons and angels. The fire is like, the angelic, the water is, again, if you have a lot of water in your horoscope, don't think you're a demon, not at all. But I'm just showing you the clash between the heavy water and the fire, the fiery elements. There's this battle for the souls of humans that is very intense in 25 and 26. And there's this people determining whether they move into the high vibration of fire after that, which is connection to spirit, to Christ consciousness, to, inspiration flow, or whether it's the negative side of fire is what? Is war. Fire is the most destructive element, or the negative side of fire is it's cruel energy. Just imagine, So where do you want to And that will be the decisive year. Sorry, I've been more psychological rather than specific predictions, but I wanted you to, because it's so important for the soul consciousness. And a lot of people will win their battle with inner demons. And a lot of people in 25 and 26 will feel like they've been reborn and they've been freed. They've been dunked into the River Jordan. They've been taken out from before drowning, and they're cleaned and they're light and they're light bodies and they're filled with light. Disregard what's happening around the world. I'm predicting revival of spirit. If you want to take it in the Christian way, if you want to take it in the esoteric way, I'm an esoteric Christian. Nothing to do with with the religion that is being presented now. Revival of spirit is coming, and I see many people that already will move to the next level. I'm not saying on another planet or dimension, or the true revival, the second coming of Christ, according to esoteric sources and esoteric Christianity, is the Christ consciousness being born in each person individually over the age of Aquarius, whenever everyone is ready. This is the opening of the third eye, as we call it. This is basically developing those extrasensory abilities, or just being connected to spirit, being in the flow, being, no matter what's happening. You've heard stories of saints, they've been dragged, they've been put on a cross, they're in ecstasy, or there's no fear, because they have this immortal connection with the immortal worlds. So that's what I see, at least a big shift and jump of consciousness. There might be 2-3% of people that do it in the next 2-3 years, maybe 5-6%. But as we know from esoteric forces, it's gonna take the whole age of Aquarius for the majority of humans to be like that, a predominance up to 75%. So maybe especially the next, as we know from Steiner, by the year 3200, the majority of people, the middle of the age of Aquarius, will be having clairvoyance, telepathy, and so on. Of course, that will be us coming back again. We come back every, 100 years, or we stay beyond for about 30, 40, 45 years on average. We come back again. So it will be us coming, but there's the big jump that we're doing now in those next like mini renaissance of consciousness. There was the last time Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune were in a bisextile. Thank you, Zuzana, a fellow astrologer. Watch her video in the Astrology 2025 Astrology Marathon. The last time Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune are in a bisextile was the year 555 after Christ. That was the year when the Roman Empire collapsed. So empires are collapsing, the old is collapsing, and the new medieval world started. But back then it was in water and earth signs, so it's not gonna be as dramatic as it was more gentle, the bisextile. Now it's going to be in fire and air signs, this bisextile. The first time in 1,500 years they make bisextile, but in fire and air. And the shift will be crazy. The level of the change from dying of one empire and level of consciousness to another. It will take, as I said, I think half of the cycle, maybe 10, 15 years for us to see it. On a personal level, much faster. Because individuals have much faster, especially if you're watching this video, level of consciousness is much higher if you're interested in such topics. And actually, the last time all of them, Pluto, Uranus, and Saturn, were in the same signs, again, Zuzana watched the video, she speaks the history of it, was 3,500 years ago. And that was a kind of a mini golden age for humanity. So interesting to see what is happening. So despite of all fears, even if there's some cataclysms that we'll see, even if there might be some big events, of course, with Saturn Neptune conjunction, Victor made the video, all the most scary predictions. I wanted to make this video to tell you that it is God's plan, first of all. Second of all, it's part of being born into the fire, being born into a new reality, and there's incredible protection by Uranus and Pluto for humanity that will be supported if you stick to the principles of the higher vibration of Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune. Divine love, divine wisdom. We can't have it at the divine level, but love, wisdom, truth. Even try not to say lies, one of the easy ways. Try not to, try to forgive people more easy. Try to be wise about your decisions. So stick to or strive for God. Strive for, Neptune is the peak of it, strive for communion with God, not hypocritically, because religions, of course, Saturn Neptune is religious tension. Saturn Neptune, when they were together in 2017, communism takes over and they destroy all the churches. So Saturn is, Neptune is religion, Saturn is to block it. But also there is manifestation. Saturn is the planet of manifestation. Neptune is the planet of miracles and divine manifestations when Saturn and Neptune come together. This time, I think around the world collectively, there will be people seeing miracles. Fatima appeared during Saturn-Neptune conjunction to the three kids, and her last prophecy was for our times, which hasn't been revealed. The last prophecy was for starting from this year, what's going to happen. People say Saturn, Neptune, and Aries, there will be wars. I don't think there will be a world war, first of all. The BI-SEXTILE between Uranus and Pluto, no, I don't think so. There will be a birth of new rulers, new ruling systems. There will be localized wars. Saturn, Neptune are in Aries. There will be localized wars that can involve a few more countries, but I think it will be contained somehow. I don't think it will take the whole world over. But who knows? The atomic bomb was exploded over Hiroshima and Nagasaki with good aspect between Pluto and Neptune, with the sextile that happened. So it's not always a guarantee. There wasn't bad aspects there. But all those scary things, Third World Wars, and of course, what did Vanga say? Baba Vanga, another prophetess from here, many people all over the world know her. She said, and I knew this as a child, she would say already from the 60s, 70s, 80s, she repeated in the 90s before she died, watch Syria. When Syria falls, the earth starts a trial period. The trials for the earth start. They will be short, but intense, but they are God's doing. And because they'll take humanity to the next level, and she says after that is incredible time for humanity, incredible time of progress, of love. She said their consciousness will be at a higher level. So no matter what's happening, keep those vibrations high, and there's protection. And intuition will be so powerful. Oh my God, if you're tapped to your intuition, and of course, how is intuition developed? Intuition is really blocked by stimulation on social media and so on. Intuition is really blocked by zoning out, watching TV, but it's very developed by, again, doing artistic, creative things, creating, or whether writing something on your own, creating something on your own, even if your job is not creating. And then when you hear, because when Neptune aligns with Pluto and Uranus, they're all planets of high intuition, tapping into invisible realms. Incredible intuition. If the intuition tells you, feel it like it's a stomach feeling for some, for others it's a body feeling, for others it's a nagging feeling. Oh, I have to be there. I want to go there. I want to visit there. This is how you might be saved, or this is how I need to relocate there. I need to do this. I need to study this. This is your biggest weapon, guys. Don't stock up on foods. The prepping thing is not air and fire coming for many years ahead. It's not about prepping with food and bug out places. No, only the intuition will help you, will help us through what is coming, so we can be well positioned to thrive in those times, not just survive, but thrive. And I think there'll be a lot of thriving to do with bisextiles and trines. So yeah, maybe the first part of the year feels more tense. With Mars retrograde, Mars can, the January, February, March, they can be people that are unhappy. Cancer rules the people, the borders of countries, something that is rethought, redid, but also the reevaluation of prices of real estate market, and they can be like a change, pullback, or whatever to make it more affordable. Even something's happening with the real estate markets or with borders of countries or the normal people as well. And yeah, that's where it's more tense. And then the big conjunctions then in Pisces and Aries, moving between water and fire, this battle, this clash that is so dramatic in the spring. And then in July, this Neptune, Saturn, these are the big events. And then September, the eclipses as well are quite intense because they activate Saturn and Neptune in Pisces again. So these are the September, so March, April, July, September into October, the big periods to watch out for the big events in personal life and collectively. But if you want very specific predictions for your own sign, ascendant sign, moon sign, rising sign, have 2.5 hours, which are much more practical than what I was talking to now. For each of the 12 signs, you can get all 3 signs in a package just for 1/3 of the 1/2 of the price. Or you can watch the free ones that I put out for the 12 signs. I'll put links for all of this. Thank you. And happy revival and birth of the new consciousness and birth of the new reality that we're in.